Hi, team. Another week with Joy, and we are finding joy on the journey to competitive greatness. So, Joy, great to have another week together. Our desired outcome with our conversations are to give hope. So, what's been going on in your life as a college coach, and how do you want to give hope to other college coaches this week based on what we're doing?
Well, it's great to be here, Carlette, again this week. I think just giving hope. I've talked to some coaches, and I'm actually coming back into the fold in the college on the college scene. So it's just one of those things where summer B is starting for a lot of coaches, especially at this level. So I think just really getting back into it and kind of navigating post COVID, with visits and that kind of stuff. So I really want to give hope to them that things are kind of crazy right now, but in a good way, to really just kind of look at the good side and all their busyness, and take time for themselves and their well-being. I think that's the big thing that I would say to give hope to coaches, is just really take a few minutes whenever that is and just really enjoy the moment, be present, and then continue on with what they're doing.
Great winning strategies for really setting ourselves up to be present. We talk to our athletes all the time about be where our feet are, be present. And it's a great winning strategy for us as well. Even as coaches, we're always planning. We've always think, we've got to get all of these things done, but it's great to really step into the same winning strategies that we say to our athletes. We know it works or we wouldn't be telling them. So good winning strategies for us as well. We've been talking about competitive greatness and really what does that mean? And our fundamentals for competitive greatness are truth, faith, and love. So, really starting with truth, anchoring in what are the facts, really, what's going on, not avoiding the emotions or avoiding it at all, but just owning whatever the truth is, having faith in ourselves, having faith in our teammates to really be able to achieve whatever level of competitive greatness we say our definition is. Let's talk today about love because, there's so much joy that comes from love. What would you say, have you really, when you watch your film as a coach, where does love come in? How does love come in? What just shows up for you from the power of love?
I think the thing that comes up for me with love is just really, first of all, loving the profession of coaching and being able to impact and empower young women and the young men that are in our program too, whatever role they might play, but also just really loving the sport, loving the game. I think those are all things that, when I think about love in this realm of competitive greatness, and really just loving to give hope to young people. I think when we think about love, sometimes you think about mushy love, but I think, in terms of competitive greatness, that was a crazy word, but in terms of competitive greatness, you have to think about love sometimes is that it's not, it doesn't, might not seem like it to the recipient, to the person that you're giving it to at the moment, because there's tough love. And so I think about in competitive greatness, tough love a lot is necessary. But I think the thing is that one of the most fulfilling things for me as a coach is when, after you've done what you want to do, and whether that's winning, competing hard, or just learning, and those players come back and talk about those experiences and all the great things, they don't remember those other things that when they went through it. So there's so many different areas of love that really I think about when it comes to competitive greatness.
And really, the gift of love is that it's so much deeper than a winning or a losing. I mean, we all remember some great games. One of the most powerful things about love is that it's so much deeper than a winning or a losing or a result. It's certainly that feeling that we feel, that connection to our team, that belonging to our team. And so, as much as we want the power of love to be incorporated into our teams, we do team building, we do all of these things. Certainly, we can feel a lack of love. So, as coaches, when you've struggled as a coach, when the team isn't performing or things aren't going as you wanted them to go, how have you really anchored back in love to make sure that you were focused on the love of the game and what you really love doing?
I think one thing, winning strategy is maybe for me have been to really just kind of get the team together. I've been a part of teams and we've had some extensive losing streaks, unfortunately. And, it's easy for teams to feel like a coach's love for them is tied up into the wins and losses, or how many points they score, how many goals they make, how many kills they get, about whatever the sport. But I think as coaches, we really have to step back and let them know, if they're not sure, that it's not really about that. everybody loves to win and we love the competition, but that the love is so much deeper than that. And so I think that's one of the big challenges sometimes, because coaches are competitive too. We're competitive, we want to win. When we lose, we don't want to talk, we don't, so we have to really be selfless and be outside of ourselves to show that love and just let players know, because they're young. The athletes are younger and they really want that affirmation from us as coaches that, hey, we don't like to lose, but the love is agape love, and it doesn't just, it's just not contingent on whether you win or lose games. I love you because I want you to be better. I want to help you be better. That our love goes a lot deeper than that. And I think when players feel that, I think you really get to that next level of competing and being a great team.
So when we think about just the power of love versus the me and we component, that me component sometimes can be self-absorbed or self-focused and feel like I've got to win or I've got to be great or I. And so the difference between the power of love and ego is really interesting because the ego component is all I based, and I don't want to let anybody down. I'm afraid somebody's going to be, I'm going to embarrass myself. A lot of fear. As soon as we can really let go of that fear and that ego and step into love of my teammates, love of my game, love of just respecting my game, and love of being a great teammate, focus on something bigger than ourselves, that's where that tipping point happens inside those teams, when it really is a matter of us, each one of us being for each other on such a deep level. So what are some winning strategies that you have discovered in terms of ego versus love?
I think it's tough and ongoing, and especially for competitors. I think the one thing winning strategy is just, as a coach, when if there are certain players and you see those things happen, is really just kind of bringing that to their attention, and not in a way that's embarrassing or anything like that, but just really just showing them some things and some ways that can make them grow, whether that's through meetings with players, and as you talk about things that are good and things that maybe you can help them grow with, is really pointing that out. I found that there are a lot of times players aren't really that aware of that component and don't really connect that with love. And so I think that when you connect those two and you talk to them about how much they love the game, how much they love the sport, they love their teammates, how they can show that love through being selfless, letting their ego go, once they understand that it's about everybody and how the team can really help lift them up, they do even better. And so I think that's the challenge, but just really, I think bringing that to their attention, and I think when you present that to them in the right way, it will connect.
So many times as athletes, we and coaches, it's all about the wins and losses. Like when we win, we feel like a winner. When we lose, we feel like a loser. So, how have you learned to stay and live wholeheartedly versus that fear factor of like, well, I don't want to go all in because what if we don't do well, or just kind of that hesitation? So, really thinking about the love component from going for it and really playing wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I think that evolves also over time, because you do feel like you're so caught up in the wins and losses. Like, I remember for a time when I might have had losing seasons where I felt like I was just a failure, like I've had a losing season. But, as I grew in my coaching and understanding that my record is not who I am, it doesn't define me. I still can give hope and show love to these players. And really, when I look back, and even in those seasons, they might have been some of the better seasons just in terms of growing as a program, as a team. So I really feel like the love component continues to evolve over time, and not looking at it as just thinking about myself or ego, but realizing that when I let all that go and I just take myself out of it, the stress is less, the worry is less. I'm just being authentic to who I am, and the hope that I want to give.
And really anchoring in purpose, just the power of playing for something and, our team and so much bigger than ourselves. So, that we reference a lot the power of why, knowing our why. That's not always easy if our why is that, we want to be competitively great and we want great things to happen. And maybe it's not the season that our team is performing well, or we've had some injuries or things have happened. So the great news about this in times of season is we're just starting. So I love the beginning of the season because we're all hopeful. We are all ready. I mean, certainly after COVID, we are so ready to be back in the gym together, back with fans, being able to really be competitively great for me in terms of me being my very best self so that I can bring it and connect it to the team and us really have, this winning season based on our definition of winning. So, how have you incorporated from a sports life coaching perspective that defining what does success look like? What does winning look like? How do you define that? How are you using that with your teams?
Well, I think just like you said, it's so hopeful. The time is, there's a lot of hope right now. Walking into the gym, it's just, that attitude of everything is, possible, and there's a lot of hope. So the thing that I try to do is really just defining success for me first, and really what I'm trying to get out of this season. And a big part for me right now in my role um, is really giving hope, really helping players to define what success looks like for them, so that we can stray away from just feeling like, well, if I don't get so many minutes per game or so many points per game. So I think my success will come in seeing them and helping them really try to anchor into not just tying their personal success and who they are into into the stat sheet, if that makes sense. I think so. Really defining me, knowing that here's what I'm trying to help them accomplish. I'm not, on the court. The coaches are teaching basketball and teaching the game the skill, and I support the coaches and really helping them with that. But also, just I think my purpose, especially with the sports life coaching component of it that I've been blessed to have, is just really trying to help them understand, to find that love, to find that, to be competitively great like they can, and really reach their potential. So it's fun, it's, and I think, we, as the players grow, that gives me a lot of joy, and to see them grow in that way, and know that I'm able to help in that.
And the desired outcome of defining our definition of success or defining our definition of winning is it puts the power back in us. We have the ability to say, today at practice, I can win practice. Today at the game, so it's not just about playing time, or it's not just about what the coach lets me do or doesn't let me do. So it's really a gift to be able to be empowered rather than hoping or thinking that, come on, let me in, or why am I not? Feel like I'm as good as that player. So really great from a perspective, from a tool perspective, being able to know every time we say a word, we all have different definitions for it from a communication perspective. So, when we say winning, all of us think it all means the same thing, but it means something different to all of us, and being able just to have those conversations and being able to talk about it. So, Joy, you've started many, many seasons in your career. We know that, what season is this that you're starting?
What
Number 1.
number?
Mhm.
It is 29.
Okay, so 29 seasons of basketball, right? In terms of being either a basketball coach
No,
or
actually, it's 30, Carlette.
a
Yeah,
little
involved in
boy
basketball.
dance there, baby.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Celebrating 30. So when you watch your film for 30 seasons, what would you say are some words of wisdom to all the coaches out there starting this next season?
Oh, wow. Patience, just be patient with yourself, not just your team, but with yourself. Some other, I think, words of wisdom are: be good to yourself, be kind to yourself. I know as a young coach, one thing I never did was take vacations, take me time. Really wasn't really concerned about my well-being, because I was chasing, I want to go win these games, I want to go get the best players. But I think you can still do that, and I really think coaches will be even more well equipped to do that if they take care of their well-being first. I think that's huge. And then, love your players. I think that's a big thing. And again, that love sometimes is tough love, and not being afraid to give that, because I think they can see your heart. They know that when you have to get on. And I think players want discipline. Players want, they want to feel that, just like they do from their mom and dad. They might not say it, but I think that gives them a sense of knowing, somebody, people are for them, the coaches are for them. So I think, those are a few things that I can, words of wisdom I can offer coaches. But just, really take some time to take care of themselves, I think, is one of the biggest things right now.
Well, Joy, thank you for another great conversation. And coaches, it's up to you now. Find joy on the journey in terms of, this is a brand new season for all of us after COVID. What a gift to be back in our sport, be able to do that and just really honor you and your well-being and be a champion for you and for your team. And this week, it's all about practicing love out of that competitive greatness component. Thank you, Joy. Great to have another week to have a conversation with you. And I'm excited for your week back starting up your season.
Thank you, Carlette. It's great to be here.
Thank you, team.